So I greet you all. We're going to be talking about doshas and the ways to balance them. Introduction to Ayurveda. I would like to start by saying that we all now live in a post-industrial era, and it's not next to nothing. People talking about new age. Some people laugh about that, but some people truly understand what it is about. But new age is dawning, and quality of the man is going to change going in the future. We cannot see how it's going to turn out, but understanding that today's trends are going to lay out the path to the future. Our forefathers and ancestors already done a great job in building the infrastructure. Humans' labor is being replaced by robots. What's left for us? Shift our attention from the outside world to our own inner nature and understand who we are and what we can do to improve ourselves. Where do we begin? We begin understanding qualities. Qualities are the keys for us to view and understand what is there that we need to work on and do in order to achieve better results, being able to serve self and others in a better way, to get to what we are striving for in the most flawless way without hindrances that are hiding inside our body, inside our mind. Once we start understanding qualities, then we know what qualities we need to work on and what we need to change and how we can do it. So practically, we need to have the tools in order to do so. And Ayurveda, in this respect, gives the most powerful tools. It provides us with the set of practices by which we can analyze and understand our qualities and our deficiencies and strong points, something that we can either balance, reduce, or enhance. Ayurveda talks about the energies. This is a medical system that's based on the energies and processes more so than on the physical body, the matter itself, even though it incorporates the concept of physical body and makes it a part of it. But beyond that, it's the processes and the qualities of the processes that are happening within our body and within our mind. And so the energies can be viewed and understood from the perspective of qualities. Qualities are attributes of energies. This is how we approach ourselves, focus and analyze and start working on. And for many people, it's already known that Ayurveda is based on 5 universal elements. Those elements are ether, air, fire, water, and earth. There are 5 universal elements. The mainstream of Ayurveda is the concept of doshas. So 3 principles are the doshas, and the first principle is the principle of Vata Dosha. Vata is the energy of air and the energy of ether combined, and it has the qualities that are very pertinent to this energy. And through these qualities, we see the manifestation of Vata in our physical plane, in the physical body, as well as in our mind. The mind expresses it through the emotion, behavior, thought, and speech. But the physical body expresses it through symptoms, deficiencies, conditions, qualities of Vata Dosha, dry and cold. So dryness and cold, light and quick, the energies of Vata Dosha. The next principle is the principle of Pitta Dosha. It consists of 2 energies. That is the energy of fire and the energy of water. Fire is very transformational, and on one hand, it comes close to the energy of wind and can vitiate the Vata. When it's hot and dry, it dries the air and the air becomes vitiated. On the other hand, the fire is flowing and gentle, and that's the other end of it, where it flows gently into the energy of water. But the fire energy or the Pitta dosha has specific characteristics of hot, penetrating, sharp. Those are main qualities of Pitta dosha. Next principle is the energy of earth and water that comprises the principle of Kapha dosha. Kapha dosha has the qualities of soft, moist, expanding, gentle, gross, smooth. When you analyze yourself and you understand specific qualities within your physiology, then you know which dosha is at work. We all incorporate all 3 doshas to be complete from birth by nature. But the ratio in each of us can vary. Some may have low Vata Dosha, but increased fire and earth. Some of us could have the other way around and have more of the wind energy versus the energy of earth or fire. And this how energetic constitution is comprised. We inherit it at the time of birth. Even it's considered at the time of conception. But the time that we're born, that would be the most balanced and natural state of our doshas. Usually, people are born with dual dosha, but some people would actually have all three doshas in the equal ratio, or some people would have one single dosha be predominant and other two would be little, low, and diminished. According to this ratio, we see through the qualities what energy is in control and rules our physiology. So will it affect our mind, it will affect our behavior, our emotional state as well, the prevalence of specific processes within our body. For example, the Vata dosha would trend along the vertical line. The horizontal line, on the other hand, is more concerned with Kapha dosha. So if we see features within the body that actually coincide with the vertical trend, then we know the Vata is revealing itself through those features. If we see the trend along the horizontal lines, then we know that it is the Kapha dosha. If we see the medium balance and ratio between these two planes, vertical and horizontal, then Pitta dosha, being in control. So the features of Vata dosha: tall person, very lean and thin constitution. They may have oval face, longer noses, thinner eyes. Vata has less of the physical material constitution. So their body lacks the bulkiness of the earthly energies. And this is why they would have the lighter weight. They would be tall, lean, not physically strong. Their eyebrows would be thin, a sign of the weaker physical constitution. Facial energies would be very subtle and delicate. The eyes would be narrow, brown. Nose would be long, sometimes could be crooked too. And the nose bridge would be also narrow. The voice would be quick and high pitched, but at the same time it would be quiet. Vata individuals would speak too much or too quickly. Great talkers and great communicators, very social people. Lips would be dry and thin. Like I said, dryness is one of the quality of Vata dosha. If the Vata dosha goes out of balance, dryness is the first one to manifest. Their neck would be swan-like, very thin and long. Then their hair trait would be coarse and dry. They could be kinky. They might start thinning with age. Fine hair strand. The skin would be thin and fragile. It could be dry, rough, and wrinkly. Their complexion would be dark and brownish, or maybe even grayish tones, and lackluster. The physique is slight and could be irregular. Then the bones would be narrow and light. The palms of the hands would be like elongated and rectangular. The fingers would be also long and narrow. The nails could be dry and would crack easily and thin. The thin nails would also show the state of neurological tissue and the mind. If the nails are thin, then the mind is not very stable. And also it concerns the hair. The hair and the nails, they show the state of the mind. Going on to Pitta dosha, and we are now talking about the physical expressions of each dosha. The Pitta dosha would have angular or heart-shaped face. Their facial energy would be intense and passionate. Their eyes would be deep-set. Nose would be medium and pointed. Nose bridge would be medium. So Pitta likes the medium sizes. Hair traits would be straight. It could be oily because another part of Pitta is oil. And oil is actually the type of energy that gives the Pitta its flowing qualities. Where Pitta flows into water and becomes water, it does that through oil. Pitta dosha would also be predisposed to early graying of the hair and early balding. The skin thickness would be medium. The skin may have some irritations, and when it's out of balance would be easier for the skin to show some manifestations on it. And the complexion would be rosy, could be ruddy when Pitta is out of balance, especially when Pitta goes into the emotion, then the complexion would change the color to almost red, bright red. The physique is moderate, and usually Pitta individuals are very shapely and athletically built. Their bones are moderate. The palms of their hands are smaller, rectangular, very proportionate. The fingers medium as long as the palm, and the nails are soft and pink. They would be stronger than Vata Dosha individuals, but still could be soft and bright pink color. Kapha Dosha. Now the physical manifestations of Kapha would be roundish face shape. The facial energy would be soft and kind. Kapha individuals are very nurturing and loving people. They would have large and moist eyes. Their nose would be wide and large and round. Their voice would be slow, deep, and compassionate. The lips are thick, neck is short, or you may not even notice much of the neck. The hair traits would be thick, curly, wavy, and very strong. The skin thickness is very thick, soft and moist and smooth, and usually Kapha individuals would show some pale colors. The physique is stocky and heavy. The bones are large and also heavy. The palm of the hand is square and fingers are shorter and thick. And the nails, just as the hair, are thick and strong, which actually shows that their neurological tissue is strong. All right, let's go on discussing the dosha's effect on the mind. How the Vata dosha affects the mental features. I will talk about positive and the challenging features. When the Vata individual is balanced, is resourcefulness, high focus, they are harmonious within, they're inspired individuals and of artistic nature, they're quick-witted and express the deep meaning, their mind is agile and quick, very high cognitive abilities and introspective. They're vibrant, excited for life, enthusiastic. They may become contagious with their activities and the way that they go through life. They're very energetic, easygoing, very creative and sociable, flexible, very good visionaries, and very well adaptable. Think of the corporate structure when we have entrepreneurs, managers, and technicians. So Vata individuals are more entrepreneurs. They're visionaries. They have very good imaginary mind. They're very creative. They're very articulate with their wording. If you want the resourceful person in that respect, you need to look for a Vata individual. For example, if somebody is hiring for the position of the creative director in the company, look for a Vata individual. Let's go through the challenging aspects of Vata dosha affecting the mind. And those would be, they would become very bitter, self-critical, overwhelmed, hypersensitive, indecisive, emotionally fragile, and they would show a lot of mood swings, very unstable with their moods. They would be very talkative, not specifically sense, but just talking everything, something that they don't even mean to say to a person, they would be on to talking about it. They would be also frigid, they could be fidgety and delusional. They would start expressing fears, they would become fearful, they may get to be rebellious, they would exert very quickly and appear very weak and tired and lose their physical power and the mental clarity, of course. Some individuals with Vata vitiation would perceive no boundaries. They may start becoming too much obnoxious. Then their short-term memory is affected. Usually, because neurological tissue is deficient in a way, they may forget things quickly, absent-minded, lose things around just because of that. They sometimes may become spaced out and even dizzy. Sometimes in vitiated states versus being too talkative, they may become too quiet. When the Vata dosha individual goes into the silent mode, they would just become very quiet and loners. They can be also aloof to things that are happening around them. They become superficial, not being concerned with deep meanings, and they would lack determination. So these are imbalanced state of Vata dosha. Now let's talk about the Pitta dosha and the positive and challenging aspects. When Pitta affects the mind in a positive way, then what we see is analytical person, a great researcher, and a great psychologist who understands details of the mental energies. They would be very just and orderly, very bright individuals, great negotiators and narrators. They can be great preachers. They're very determined, kind and compassionate, loving people. In Sanskrit, it's called sankalpa. That type of individual, success-oriented, intelligent, persuasive in a good way. They would have a very discerning mind and very sharp mind, possess mental clarity on situations. They are very systematic and linear. They like hierarchy sometimes, but they're also orderly. They're very reasonable, possess strong will, charismatic, strong leaders, and they're very rational. And the challenging features of Pitta dosha, and this is when some of the chakras are spinning different way than they should due to certain distortions in the mind. Negative Pitta individual would lack compassion. They would become very mean and overpowering, be sarcastic, and can burn out fairly quickly. They're very arrogant, irritable, self-centered, pushy, competitive, and envious. These are negative Pitta individuals. So some more of the challenging properties of Pitta dosha would be opinionated and judgmental, very critical and self-righteous individual. Big aspect is anger. And anger is something that very hard to defeat. So aggression and argumentativeness, they would also dominate people and overpower them. They can be impulsive, catching on the emotion very quickly. In fact, this is the first response of the mind is the emotion. And people who can realize that and control their emotion and get it to the balanced thinking are on the right path. Thinking goes in line of that emotion. They may also be insensitive people and may get to a fanatic state. The next is Kapha dosha effect of the mind in a positive and challenging way. So the Kapha positive features would be collaborative person, content within and happy, friendly, family oriented, a good provider to the family, and they make wonderful chefs. They are very physical and possess strong physical features, strong body. They're very consistent, forgiving, generous, and they're stable in life. These are good qualities of Kapha dosha, and they're also devotional and loyal. They possess very good memory, especially the long-term memory, while in short-term memory, that makes them very good consistent workers. They may work at a slower pace, but consistently. They would like to follow traditions. They don't really like change much, and they're very practical, industrious, and efficient. These were the qualities of the positive Kapha individual. And these are the qualities that can balance the Vata vitiations. For example, overwhelmed and exhausted, some of the positive Kapha dosha features balance the Vata vitiation in their mind. Some challenging features for Kapha individual, they resist change, they're neglectful, they may become complacent and resentful, they may be greedy. They may become overeaters, especially when they feel lack of love, because that's what mentally replaces it. They may become stagnant. That means they may retain a lot of toxins. If they are not physical, they don't work out, because that's number one for Kapha individual in their body and in their mind too. They're procrastinating and manipulating. They manipulate because they don't want to move, and they start asking people to do this and that goes on, and may turn into some very bad manipulation. They may become materialistic. They also can be redundant and attached. They may also be stubborn, sentimental. They may also be a slow learners. Quality of Kapha dosha is slow. So whatever they do would be at a slow pace. But once Kapha individual learns something, then they will never forget that. Whereas Vata can learn fairly quickly and then quickly forget it. They may become shy or even xenophobic. They may also go into the suppressive mode. They may become sloppy, lazy, and hoarding. That would be unwanted features and expression of Kapha in the mind. All right, so how do we oppose these qualities? What do we do in practical way? For Vata individuals, we want to have them balanced and make them strong and warm. As long as the Vata individual has good physical strength and being warm, they are balanced. And as far as the mind, we, instead of fear, which is the challenging feature, we want them to cultivate faith, be calm and content. That would be balancing principles for Vata individuals. For Pitta individuals, they would be balanced when they're cool and calm. Cool by the body, cool by the mind, They're consistent. They're not expressing emotions no matter what happens. They take time to think. They don't go into the argumentative mode quickly. This is what we need to cultivate in order to stay balanced for Pitta individuals. The biggest challenge is anger, and that needs to also be opposed with specific balancing practices like focusing on breathing, taking in some cooling agents, also taking their time not to rush into the emotion or rush into the reaction in order to realize and calm the emotion down. And only then, when the emotion subsides, they have a better chance to think clearer about the situation. They need to cultivate compassion. That's something that will balance the anger. The way to cultivate compassion, the way we transform the anger is using our humor, not sarcastic humor, because sarcastic humor is downward going energy, but the positive constructive humor. That way we take the energy of anger and transform it into humor, which is the first step. The situation that makes the person angry can be viewed as a funny situation, not specifically the situation that instigates the anger. The next step would transform that positive constructive humor into the piti, and that would already be a transformed energy on its own, which will not manifest anger at all. Then we transform the piti into compassion. This is how we transform energy step by step by our conscious action applied to it. Please think of it and use it. You can ask us questions if you have any about it. Now, what is balancing for Kapha individuals, as they are easy to develop attachments, would be cultivating non-attachment and generosity, being able to detach and open to the change. In order not to become complacent and stagnant, they always need to be engaged in different activities, in different events, engaged with their physical activities, with yoga or the health club. And now we can go to our next step, and that is the game of identifying the doshas of the individual.